In a successful negotiation, both parties should feel like they won something. The secret is to let your opposition win what does not hurt you. My name is John, and you're listening to the Tech Leader Pro podcast. It is week 10 of 2025, Sunday the 9th of March. I'm a bit late getting this episode out as I was unwell last week, but I have a good topic for you. I want to talk to you about the recent Whitehouse meeting between President Trump, Vice President Vance and President Zelensky. It was a painful example of a negotiation going off the rails, and it is worth talking about in terms of what we can learn from it as leaders. In a successful negotiation, both parties should feel like they won something. If one side feels that they lost everything due to maximum leverage being applied, they will feel resentful. In such a situation, the topic under negotiation will reopen in the future. That is inevitable. So, both sides must feel like they won on topics that they care about, otherwise resolutions will not stick over time. Vice President Vance displayed a combative style that reminded me of an SVP that I once reported to in the past. My SVP would challenge on every single topic. He would attack both the topic and the messenger, and he was basically adversarial by default. I wrote a blog back in 2014 that reminds me of the argument in the Whitehouse recently. Quote, "Badgering is an aggressive questioning technique that is intended to steer the recipient to a conclusion that has already been reached inside the mind of the badger." End quote. And I'll link to that blog entry in the show notes of this episode, which is entitled Taming the Badger. I included a few tips in that blog about how to deal with somebody badgering you. I think the following two still resonate with me after watching that grueling encounter in the White House. The first tip I gave in the blog was to agree with everything they say, bite your lip and be like Mr. Bobblehead, always nodding and smiling. This will save your energy and blood pressure, and you can then forget about everything they said immediately afterwards. So put simply, listen, smile, nod, and then let it go in one ear and out the other. The second tip that I gave is to get the badger to confront you publicly. To a reasonable audience, the badger will seem like a bully, and you will garner sympathy. And I think we can agree that's probably what happened with that encounter. It's worth pointing out, however, that all strong leaders should be able to deal with badgering, and an emotional reaction is not how to do it. You need to fight the important topics, but concede on the unimportant ones. There should be no pride in a negotiation. Leave your ego outside. Arguing about every single point, however, will get you nowhere, and will most likely lead to a breakdown of negotiations, as we all witnessed so painfully during that White House engagement. Leverage is everything in a business deal. Everything else is just talk. President Trump and Vice President Vance understand this. They are businessmen first and politicians secondly. It is brutal to witness this if you are not used to it, but that is the reality of high-stakes negotiations, and both men are bringing that robustness to international politics. It's a bit like witnessing somebody being on the receiving end of a beating. If you're not used to it, it can be quite shocking. But if you see those negotiations happening all the time, you kind of toughen up to it. And a strong leader needs to be able to negotiate under such pressure. Diplomacy is great, but leverage is better. And the reality is that the person with the maximum amount of leverage in a negotiation is the one who's going to win. They can, of course, be wise and realize that they shouldn't try to maximize the win because they don't want the person on the other side to be resentful. Again, that won't stick over time. If you get a chance, guys, watch the full video of that encounter. It's over an hour long, but it's worth your time. You want to improve your leadership skills, you want to get good at negotiating, watch that video and learn. It's absolutely fascinating. I'm not interested in discussing the politics behind it. You can see clearly I'm not taking sides. I'm just simply using it as something that we can learn from and we can improve our skills. I think there was a lot of mistakes made on both sides, frankly. And to have such a public breakdown was, not great, to say the least. I don't think anybody came away from it looking good. Okay, I will leave it there, guys. I will talk to you next week. Take care.